I've implemented netcode, connecting with friends over Steam, and a sick arm wrestling system. Today, I want to go over some of the changes I've made and some of the sanity I've lost since we last spoke. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone, to another Tavern Team Devlog. This is number 5. I've been working on a game that revolves around serving customers and managing your tavern with your friends. Now, I keep saying that, with your friends, but so far, all the code I've written is for implementing systems in single player. So today, I want to tackle some of the networking. Now, I already have a tiny bit of experience in netcode when I made that Wii Tanks. That was all based around local multiplayer, meaning player A and player B are both on the same Wi-Fi network. But for Tavern Team, I want you to be able to connect to your friends. So I need a way to tell my player to transmit data to my friend's player who's using stolen McDonald's Wi-Fi. That's why your ping is so bad, Leo. To do this, we're going to use Steamworks, which is a set of APIs that allow you to connect your game to Steam. This allows you to view your Steam friends list and do more complicated things like setting up lobbies and server lists. It's a free service, so while I could pretend I'm integrating this out of the kindness of my heart, it's really just because I'm cheap as hell. But our network flow is going to begin by calling Steam's API, getting our friends list, then giving us the option to invite any of them to our game. Once we invite them, they can join our Steam lobby, and like a bridge, it connects us. So first, talking from a code standpoint, we need a way to connect to Steam. Now, there's one sort of hiccup, and it's that Steam's API is actually written in C++, but the code that we write in for Unity is C#. So we need a way to easily translate that C++ backend into C#. Nice. I'm just so passionate about editing. Now there's this awesome tool called FacePunch, which other than having a pretty metal name, it'll translate that C++ into C# so that we can easily integrate that into our code. It's made by the developers behind Rust, so I assume they know what they're talking about. Anyway, now that you understand the network flow, let's get started with some of the changes that I actually have to make to the code. So our first priority was to show my Steam friends list in-game, bing bang boom, easy enough. Hey, this might not be that bad. This is called foreshadowing because it was, in fact, that bad. I created a second Steam account and spun up a virtual machine to do a lot of the earlier testing, so that TJ Debug account is running on its own little private network. After that, I tested some of the connections locally, allowing you to join another player's game and move independently, then started working on rewriting the barrels code to work over multiplayer. I needed to not just write the logic to inform the server each time a barrel had been interacted with, but rewrite all the code that I'd previously done to allow the barrels to be independently picked up, moved, and then placed down, and all of that has to be displayed on all the other clients. Once I got that working smoothly, I then refactored all the code I had written for the items, allowing players to pick them up, walk around with them, move with them. They can drop the items or throw them. That looks sick, gonna have to tweak that. I'm gonna need to create a few different animations due to the fact that there's a very slight lag between the host player and the client player, but that's easy enough to polish later. I then began converting the entire tavern scene to work in multiplayer. This was an experience. I wonder if this is where dwarf babies come from. Yep, you can't do anything. Just gonna push you right up to the edge and up. Shit. Yeah, I deserve that. To get the customers to spawn and behave correctly, I refactored their code to update their states over the network. Also, the animations are now correctly synced across the server and the clients. Next, I created a proper lobby for the players to spawn in, just a little room with a locked door, until all the players from the Steam lobby load into the scene, and then the host can unlock the door and begin the game. Now, let's shift gears for a second and talk about the arm wrestling system I implemented, because that sat very high on my list of priorities. Yeah, I don't know, I wanted to make it. First, I started with 2 dummy characters and created a camera at the head of one. I then needed some arm wrestling animation, so I hopped over to Mixamo to find an animation, and well, shit. It was worth a shot. I wound up having to use an asset by FI Impossible called Animation Designer. It lets you modify your animations in Unity, and since I can't animate, this seemed like a good solution. I changed up the arms and made him lean forward, and he looks like that guy from TikTok. Shit. You know who I'm talking about? Let me find him. This guy. Yeah, so anyway, here's what the original animation looked like, and here's the new one. So now there's a new issue though. The hands do move through each other due to the idle animation. I tried using animation rigging, but I didn't really like how controlling the bones looked. So after testing a few different options, I wound up just grabbing the arm meshes, opening them in Blender, shaping them into 2 clasped fists, and then exporting it back to Unity. I think that if I pivot along the Y-axis, it'll create a nice little effect. So I set up 2 inputs, position them based on the amount of inputs from each player, and not trying to flex, but everything I code works the first time, so look at this. Okay, 50% of the time it works the first time. Anyway, eventually I got it super smooth. I'm really happy with how clean this looks, and the arms do now rotate based on the player's inputs. I also added a little slam to the opponent on loss, and he cheers on a win. I then added an intro camera so that after accepting a challenge, we fade the player's camera to black and then fade in with As I was saying, we fade into a little rotating cam, and I added a countdown timer. I was originally just going to do mouse clicks, but then I posted that idea in Discord, and the nice people there told me that that was boring as hell, so I changed the player's input to be a random WASD key. It'll randomly switch to another one after 5 seconds. It's definitely way better, but I can always change it if we come up with a better idea. I also added a crowd to cheer on the match, and they just play random animations. So I've got all this implemented using single player, but I mean, since we're working on netcode, might as well make this multiplayer. Oh look, it's light out. He did the thing where he stayed up all night working on. No, it's been 2 days. Okay, I hate coding. I hate Unity. I hate netcode especially. I don't know why I decided to make a multiplayer game. This is probably the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. I'm running out of groceries. I forget what grass looks like. Oh, I did get it done though. So it's really cool. Let me show you. So now this is what I'd like to consider the finished product. I did a few minor tweaks to the UI, and the icons to the buttons now animate when the correct key is pressed. At the game end, you can choose to go again or end the match. Choosing to go again requires both players' input to start a new match, but choosing to end the game requires only one. Now, let's talk about getting this to work with other real people. I acquired some slave labor from my Discord to help me test this out. We managed to get all 4 people into the same Steam lobby and then start the game. Although we were able to get the demo scene working, we ran into some issues with the tavern where something in the internal logic, whether it's the tavern's logic or the arm wrestling logic, is preventing the clients from being able to update. So they can all spawn into the game and see each other and see me, but they can't move. So I've got a little bit more tweaking to figure that out, but otherwise, almost done. Anyways, I spent an entire weekend working on that and still couldn't figure it out, so I'm just going to re-architect the entire tavern from the start. But hey, you guys are watching a devlog, not a game trailer. Shit's not gonna work. And I wouldn't want to fake it and pretend that it did work, even if it makes the video slightly worse, it's fine. But I'm very happy with all the progress that we've made on multiplayer. I've got about 75% of it done. There's a few extra systems that I need to get working, but I know how to do it now. So good news is that I do know I will be able to finish this game with multiplayer, which was like the entire objective of getting it started 3 months into the project. I hope you're enjoying watching these. If you are, if you could take a moment out of your day to hit the like button, I know it's annoying as hell to ask, but it does make a huge difference, and the amount of support the channel's had so far is like absolutely mind-boggling insane. I never thought that there would be this many people interested in it, but thank you all. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.